Hi, Coach. A lot of change in college football rosters, changing over. Talk a bit about building of your roster following that December when you moved on to 25.
Yeah, no, it's a transformation, change, whatever word you want to use. There's a lot of fluidity in college football right now. And the 2024 Lakers, we graduated 25 seniors, and then you go into the winter transfer portal cycle, you go into the spring transfer portal cycle, and our roster is quite a bit different. It's quite a bit different. And in college football, you build a program, but you're building team by team, and those teams have their own identity. They kind of have their own personality. But with this nature of college football, particularly with transfer portal and how the rosters are kind of moving so much now, those identities and those personalities really can change quite quickly. And got a tremendous group of leaders, a couple guys that have really stepped forward: Anthony Cardamone, Brett Weaver, Simon Harper, Kellen Reed. I mean, Jimmy Downs, I can go down the list, but some guys that really stepped forward in January and said, hey, this is going to be the identity of the We All We Got version 54 of the 2025 Lakers, and just continue to grow and grow and grow. And through the summer, now about a week and a half in here into fall camp, that we're really excited about who we're becoming.
You have a lot of guys that played a lot of snaps last year, maybe weren't the starter, and you brought in the guys with significant experience in college football. Talk about blending those guys who have a little experience with the transfers that came in.
No, and it's really spring ball, you get 15 practices. Fall camp, essentially, you get another 15 practices. Summer voluntary workouts, but leveraging those again, that leadership coming in and really trying to get some reps in 7-on-7 and some fundamentals and skills to get ready for camp. But you come into camp and it's got to be intentional. It's got to be deliberate, because every rep matters. It's not just every practice, but every single play, every single rep matters, because trying to get those guys in situations that maybe they've had a few in a game like you're referencing, Tim, but maybe they weren't that starter, they weren't that impact guy. And then relying on those guys that have been in those games, those moments, right? And that leadership to make sure that we have that intentional, on purpose, deliberate focus.
Let's start defensively. Again, a position where you have guys that played, maybe didn't start, but the defensive line, a lot of guys that have stepped up and really been leaders thus far to camp.
Yeah, and that was a position, coming out of the December window, going into the spring window, felt pretty good about. A couple more guys leaving the spring. And it was relying on some of those redshirt freshmen that just had a taste. But Jamari Budden, Derek Rouge, Jabril Condi, some guys that got out there a little bit last year. Kamani Potts is a guy that has had some flashes, maybe hasn't been game in and game out, but had some tremendous flashes in 2024. Combined with bringing in a couple guys that have significant game experience from their previous spot. But that's a spot that, we were looking at that, yes, is going to be young, but it's a spot that is extremely talented and building a tremendous amount of skill and creating some confidence here in camp.
Linebacker returned to the best in the league, and Anthony Cardamone and Jimmy Downs, along with some guys who really stepped up and made significant impacts in camp so far.
Yeah, and that list right there is long, right? Like, we go into staff meetings, we start talking personnel, and there's a group of guys that are making plays day in and day out, living out our culture day in and day out. That man, that's an exciting group. And maybe they won't, because of the depth that we had, the talent, the skill, and the depth that we have at that position, right? Like, maybe we don't have those guys out there on defense, but they're going to be massive. They're going to be really big for us on special teams as well. Yeah.
Secondary, lost a lot of good players, brought in probably your largest transfer class in terms of that. But some returnees who have really stepped up.
Yeah, no.
James Hardy and a couple other guys.
Yeah, so Jason Hardy, Deontay Pippen, and you can go down the list of guys that in that redshirt freshman group. Well, now it's their third year and it's time to go. And we're starting to see that here in fall camps. You saw some flashes in the spring, but now it's a consistent product they're putting on tape, putting it on field in fall camp. So really excited about that group and that group's growth. Got a couple young guys, some freshmen that are flashing right now too. So as they become more consistent and start working on building a little depth there. But like I said, you mentioned Jason Hardy, like some of the guys that have played, but now Pippen, Nickens, and a whole host of guys that are battling out for really that top 5, 6 spots. We've seen the flashes. Now let's just see it consistently as we finish camp.
Offensive line, switch to offense. Offensive line returns some key guys. But again, you're blending in some newcomers that don't have a ton of experience, but have really flashed well.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the offensive line. When you start talking about offensive line, defensive line, but particularly offensive line, right, is the build and grow, the development piece, right? And we've had to speed that process up a little bit. In some cases, a guy like Evan Curtis, redshirt freshman, that it came on like crazy and really finished spring ball extremely well, and he's carrying that right into camp. And we talk about that here in terms of we start camp, it's got to be practice 16 coming out of spring ball, and really maybe practice 20 because of the work that they put in on their own in the summer. But coming in at practice 20, 25, whatever it is, and we've seen that from like an Evan Curtis. Some guys, Mason Kern, is a guy that came into us, Rockford High School last year, scout team, and he just had a couple good practices. Andy Hartman's another guy that's flashed. But yeah, we got the Brett Weavers playing at extremely high level. We got Josh Martin. Like those guys have been around and played some, really meaningful snaps for us. But some of those sophomores and redshirt freshmen and a couple transfers mixed in, really liking the mix of that group.
Talk about the skill guys. You're definitely gonna have a new quarterback. But the skill side of the ball really has stepped up.
Yeah, and that skill set is playing at an extremely high level. Tremendous talent, but when that talent combines with the skill set, the culture, and all those things come together, and that's what we're seeing right now. Kellen Reed, been a heck of a returner, has had some big plays on offense, but not maybe necessarily consistent because of the Kyle Knotts and Cody Tierney's and Mook and those guys over the last couple of years. So he's really going to have that opportunity, and he's seizing it. In the boundary, Sean Bird's a guy that had a great spring and continuing to play extremely well during camp. Donovan Johnson from a leadership in his play. Jordan Johnson, Griffin Shinrock. We were just talking about Bo Schembeck a little bit in the team meeting last night, and he was talking about like your seniors got to be, that's got to be their best year, and that's what we're seeing out of Griffin Shinrock. And we might not have a ton of seniors, but we're seeing extremely high level. Sion Usma Harper's a guy at running back. Derek Woods is a guy at running back playing his best football. Kenneth Jones always had the ability, right? Has been behind some guys. Well, now he's getting a few more reps and really taking advantage of it. Harry Younger at tight end, playing extremely high level. And a couple younger guys there too, like Colin Buchanan. Brett Peterson's coming back from an injury, had a really good start to camp. So that skill set, when it's out there, it's probably, from a talent skill standpoint, but from a depth, very similar to linebacker on the defensive side of the ball. At running back, at wide receiver, and then the tight end position, then obviously quarterbacks.
Such teams are extremely talented there. A couple of punters, play sticker back, long snapper, transferred in. What you really got to feel good about special.
Extremely good. And, obviously our goal isn't to punt a whole lot. And we are blessed with 2 all-league, all-American punters, guys that are extremely good. And both guys had those opportunities last year and took complete advantage of them. So Trey Surgich and Evan Sunderman, and then Matt Basic made some big kicks for us. Didn't kick off, so get to do both. And then bringing in Trey, really firing the ball back there. So from a specialist standpoint, and then just how we're practicing special teams here in camp, I'm going to be excited about that third of the game.